After the Emancipation Proclamation was passed, there became an issue of whether or not African Americans should be able to fight in the war. That created two sides, people against African Americans fighting in the war and people that wanted them to fight. For the African Americans that fought in the war, they weren't paid as much or given the same rations as whites who fought, though that's what they were promised. White men were paid $13 per month, while blacks were given $10 but had $3 withdrawals for clothing, so they had a net pay of $7 per month. Additionally, there was a time where the blacks weren't paid for a year while the white men still received their pay every month. Eventually, white men were prejudiced against African Americans and many reasons why they shouldn't fight in the war. They believed that it was a white man's fight and that an African American soldier could not fight as well as a white soldier. African Americans also argued that it would be foolish for them to fight since they had no reason to fight under a flag which gave them no protection.
People that wanted African Americans to have the right to fight in the war equally wanted it because of the potential increase in political and social equality for blacks. There were others that wanted it only because of the need for men to fight in the war, and after the war was over, they went back to wanting African Americans to be used only for slavery. There were over 176,000 more African Americans fighting in the Civil War for the North than there were African Americans fighting in the Civil War for the Confederates. The main value tension here is unity versus diversity. It was the issue of being united, fighting a war, and diverse and segregated between the blacks and whites. When there was a war, unity overpowered diversity because America saw past color when they needed men to fight, and whites and blacks became united. The minute the war was over, it went back to people thinking that whites were superior to blacks. The conflict was not very well resolved. We'll give it a 3 out of 10, because we used blacks only when we needed them. Today, it's slowly being resolved as to who can and who cannot enlist in the Army, and why that is.